Good evening and welcome to Plain Talk. In another 2 weeks and one day, the year 2015 will have come to an end. Yesterday, as well, marked 7 months since the APNU plus AFC assumed the reins of power in Guyana and brought 23 years of continuous rule by the PPPC to an end. Those elections meant for 51 years we had essentially only one change of government. Yet it probably was the most dramatic and significant development for the year. And what I thought we would do this evening is, with our resident guest, Raymond Gaskin, discuss some of the issues that arose in 2015 and also issues that arise out of 2015. For example, the question of the frequency of the meeting of the National Assembly. So let me ask immediately Mr. Gaskin, how would he sum up the year 2015? Raymond?
Oh, yes. I would sum up the year 2015 as a tremendous disappointment. Although I think there's a general feeling throughout the population that it was time for a change after 23 years. But having had that change, I would say since then, for the last 7 months, I would say, speaking for myself, there is a lot of disappointment for the last 7 months, in the sense that what we expected, the change and the velocity of change, that hasn't come about. And we're still struggling with the same problems that we had early in the year and last year and the year before. The economy, crime, governance, sugar, Gaisuko, corruption, we still have them. And nothing has been done, in my opinion, so far to deal seriously with any of it.
Now,
I would sum it up like that.
is it that the expectations were unrealistic? Sugar was underperforming. Bauxite was underperforming. Gold price had collapsed. Those were central pillars of the economy. So, was it not unrealistic to expect any significant improvement in the economy?
Well, when we look at the economy, the way I look at it anyhow, and the way Clive Thomas explains it, we know there are two economies in this country. We start with that proposition: the legal economy and the illegal economy. The legal economy is sugar, bauxite, gold, and forestry and all of that. And we have the illegal, the criminalized sector of the economy. Now, when we start with the legal economy, we have the bankrupt company, Gaisuko, that's draining the treasury about $30 million every day, about $10 billion a year. And after 7 months, we're still being drained. The hemorrhage is continuing unabated. There was some commission of inquiry, they made a report, the people went to a retreat, they went to cabinet, they're going back to another retreat. This is all nonsense. In a situation where the Treasury has to cough up $30 million a day to start getting answers to this problem. That's one. In other words, nothing is being done dramatically to deal with a critical issue. Then you have the bauxite industry. The bauxite industry, the production is down. But we still haven't been able to gather royalties from the Russians and the Chinese so far after several months. They still continue to do what they want to do. They're just fetching away all this product and they pay no royalties. Good. Then you deal with the forestry. We still have the problem with logs and baishanlin and all that. We talk a lot about baishanlin, but they do nothing about it. We keep talking all the time. We're good at talking.
But my thing, no, we're going to get to...
Then you come to the legal...
We're talking about sugar, bauxite and gold.
Sugar, bauxite, the gold price is
Those
down.
are central pillars of the economy.
Gold price is down to 1,100 and something. But the gold is being smuggled. Gold price is not a bad price. It isn't the 19 or 1800 it used to be, but 1100 is not a bad price for gold. When it was 500 or 800, everybody was happy that it would reach 1,000. But the gold is being smuggled all the time out of the country. More than half of production. Nothing is being done about it. So nothing is being done about anything.
Or, tell me something. How do you, in a country with such open borders, how do you control smuggling, whether outgoing or incoming smuggling?
Well, I'm not going to, on this program, provide my ideas to anybody on how to stop anything.
But you're trying to simplify it. You're saying
I'm not simplifying. I'm saying it's
it.
continuing.
Yes.
I'm saying it's continuing unabated from last year and the year before, and it's continuing, and nothing is being done about anything. That's what I'm saying. Nothing is being done about it.
So
and the gold miners are complaining, and what they come for now, because of the price, they want concessions now. They want concessions too. They want concessions. The rice farmers want concessions. Everybody wants concessions. That's what you have.
So what I was asking you though is you say they've done nothing about the smuggling. Is that correct?
Well, what have they done about the smuggling?
Well, you don't. One doesn't know whether the police, whether the GGMC, the Guyana Gold Board, have in fact stepped up their regulatory function.
It is my understanding that the GGMC, the way it's presently run, the board and the management, they have not been able to deal with the problems in that place. The board, the entire board and the management, they have a lot of problems down there.
So you're okay. Your information is that they've done nothing.
Yes, seriously. There's nothing done seriously about a big problem. Yes.
What about that's gold? What about rice?
In the GGMC there now. There's one family group there controlling 2,000 mineral claims. One group. The same Chinese name, I don't want to keep repeating these people's names, they have 197 mineral permits in the thing. And another gentleman with 400 permits. So that's what you got in the play. It's my considered opinion. The GGMC needs a lot of house cleaning. It is a very corrupt organization and it is in need of change.
All right, your suggestion is that so far as the economy is concerned, the government has done nothing.
Not much, no. And then we look at the budget. The budget came down on August the 10th. From May the 16th, the government was installed, right up to August 10th. That's a long time to prepare a budget. I think much of it had already been prepared anyhow. So you have this budget on August 10. You have all these big approvals, capital expenditure. Nothing had been done for the whole year up to August 10, no spending and no big work, a lot of layoff, unemployment and so on. August 10, December this week, in December month, they're still awarding contracts for on the 2015 budget. I don't know when the work is going to be done, but the money was approved since August and nothing was done to expedite the process to get these things awarded and get it done and get people back to work.
So the expedited process you're talking about would include for the capital works going to tender, advertising, awarding of tender. Do those processes, because they're intended to guard against corruption and abuse, are they inherently slow?
We could have, in my opinion, the people who were in charge of those things, should have been working day and night, 24 hours a day, Saturday and Sunday and every holiday to get it
that
done
might
more
be your
quickly.
view, but nobody works that way,
You're
Raymond.
asking me my
No,
view,
no, no,
I'm giving you my
no,
view.
I'm saying it's an unrealistic view that people are going to work 24/7.
If you bring in the budget in August and you haven't had anything for the entire year, and then you have all these tenders and bids coming in on all of this, and you don't want to work on Sundays and holidays to get it done, I can't help you.
No, well, nobody is asking you to help them. I'm saying your assessment is unrealistic. You expect people to work 24/7.
And that is why in December we're still awarding contracts in December month since the August budget. The money was approved a long time ago.
Okay, so
I think it has to do with an inefficiency, a lackadaisical approach to things. Nobody's in any big hurry, and that's why the economy itself is not performing. You're talking about the economy is not performing. We can't get it moving quickly enough.
Well, you have said, and you've very regularly cited Clive Thomas on this program.
Because of the two economies we have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, did you expect the government to retain and to tolerate that illegal economy?
No. It's not a question of tolerating the illegal economy.
No, but I'm asking you the question.
Yeah, I'm answering the question.
Asking,
In every country you have some illegal activities going on, whether it's Canada, United States, UK. In all countries where you have this illegal, part of the economy is illegal and unreported economy and so on.
Right.
Some of it is outright criminal, some of it is unreported, some of it is tax evasion, and you know about the tax avoidance and so on. But I don't see any serious work going on there to deal with that. And what is happening in my view, whatever perceptions the operators in that economy have about the new government has forced them, in a sense, to hold back on their investments, and that too has contributed to the lack of growth in the economy.
Is that, in your view, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know if it's a good thing.
I'm asking you, man. that the illegal economy, which we had said was doing some amount of harm,
well, the illegal
whether it should be reined in.
The illegal economy, you have the criminal element of the
we know
illegal
that.
economy.
You've got two elements, yes.
Of the illegal economy.
Oh, both of them are bad.
Yes. But I don't see anything that's being done about any of them, to tell you the truth.
So why have they slowed down, you think?
The criminal element? I think...
Both of them.
No, but the businessmen who operate in the formal economy also operate in the illegal economy. Nobody is really going after them vigorously. The real guys in the criminal set, they have a wait-and-see attitude. That's their thing. They wait to see how this thing will play out. In the meanwhile, they're not investing too much at the present time, in the last 7 months.
The criminal set you're talking about, would that include the narco sector?
Yeah, that's outright criminal.
But...
and some of those same guys are in the formal economy too. Mm-hmm.
That's where they wash it? You call it Suntaili or something like that?
Lloyd Pink.
Lloyd Pink
had a big laundry.
That was a laundry. Yeah. Suntaili was in...
Broad Street, and Lloyd Pink in Middle Street.
The impact of that sector, or those sectors, would have had quite a significant repercussion on the overall economy, though, the volume of money, volume of transactions.
Yeah. But I think if the ministry, it is my view, if the minister had done a proper analysis of what's going on with this economy and so on, and if he were minded towards job creation and getting the economy moving once again, he would have employed different strategies than he did in his August budget. With what I call, of course, for want of a better phrase, community economics to get things moving in this way. We didn't do that. He didn't do that at all. To get things moving.
So you see that the government was slow in dealing with the economic challenges it faced.
The economic challenges. They're slow in dealing with corruption in the public companies and entities, and slow in dealing with crime. Crime is totally out of control in this place. Only 2 weeks ago we see there's something called Dragnet now started, but they haven't done anything for the last 7 months to deal with crime at all, in my opinion. Nothing. Nothing that I can see. Crime is really out of control in this place. And We had a case last week where some, I would call them bandits, I think, it's true to say, they were shot either in a tank or behind a tank. And afterwards, the president had made a statement that he has a preference to bring them in for interrogation and so on. And I don't think he sounded too happy at the shooting of these persons in the tank or behind the tank.
Did you see that as a criticism of the police?
Yes, and I think it sends a wrong message to the police, and I also think that that statement is entirely out of sync with the mood of the population here. The population, in my view, want the police to be very active and very aggressive dealing with crime, and the president didn't seem to be too happy. But as one of the senior law enforcement officials said, when you engage law enforcement with weapons, you have to be ready to accept the consequences. So I think he made it clear the police have a position on this matter.
You said that the crime has got out of control. There were a spate of criminal activities, murder, serious robbery, on arms, in the hinterland community. Mm-hmm. You haven't been hearing much of those recently. In that area, crime has certainly reduced. No, in terms of the figures,
I don't have any information on that.
But you have no information to suggest, and the press would have reported those things.
I don't know.
What I'm asking you then, Raymond, whether in terms of reported crimes in the hinterland community against maybe the Brazilians, whether there has not been a reduction in reported crimes.
I do not get that impression. I think that the intensity of crime in the interior of the country it hasn't abated at all. I get that impression from reading about miners being killed and all kind of thing. I get that impression.
You have a fairly unfavorable view of the management of the economy. Is that a fair
yes,
assessment?
I think the people in charge of the Ministry of Finance, I don't think they have a correct grasp of the economy, the problems, the diagnostics, and how to deal with it and how to get it moving. I don't think they have a good grasp of it at all. I don't think so. And some of them, somebody said, well, oil is coming and money is coming and this is coming. It's all a lot of nonsense. It has nothing to do with economic analysis and policy making that oil money is coming. Oil money is not coming here.
The economy, which of course embraces agriculture, manufacturing, commercial, you have a fairly adverse view of that in terms of crime. Which sector, which area of operation or of governance in the country you have a favorable view of?
That I would give high marks?
Yes.
I was thinking about it on my way this evening here.
You weren't expecting that question, were you?
But no, I expect all kinds of questions. I couldn't think of one. The Parliament has hardly been meeting. If you look at that area, the Parliament hasn't been meeting. We have a lot of more problems now with the Venezuelans on the border, which has increased recently. We have a lot of problems there, I think. We have problems as a result of this ExxonMobil and all this thing. We're stuck with a lot of rice, which we used to sell at a premium price, where we've lost that apparently. And we have to consider now, was it a good idea to bring ExxonMobil here and to create all these problems for us? Because what ExxonMobil did, they came here, they said they found a lot of oil, they capped it, and they left the country, and we left with all this rice sitting on the dock, so we can't sell it at the premium price. So we have to calculate it, whether it was worth our while to have these people come here at this particular juncture. Because we're stuck with the problem here, and they're gone. ExxonMobil gone. And they ain't coming back soon either.
Well, they're back. The press reports them as being back. But
back to the what? Let me take the
point you made about oil having somehow affected our rice the premium price,
Price we used to get, yes.
Wasn't that something that had to come to an end? Which government would be paying more than it needed to pay when its own supermarket shelves can't have toilet paper, margarine, sugar, butter?
I can't answer for the government over there. But what I know is that when it came to an end, we were stuck with this thing, I think prematurely and unexpectedly, and we're still stuck with it.
But shouldn't we have been prepared for an end to that?
We should have been prepared.
It was an unrealistic situation. It couldn't continue?
Well, but it was exacerbated and provoked, in my opinion, by the ExxonMobil people.
That's a strong word.
Yes, yes. And we have to think about it, whether it was worth our while at that juncture to have ExxonMobil come here, say they're looking to create all these problems for us, and they just sailed away, capped the well, and they're gone. They're gone, and we have the problem here. They're gone. And they ain't coming back here because at $36 a barrel, they ain't coming.
Let me ask you, you said you have difficulties because you were thinking, what can you say was positive?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. And then
do you see any improvement in
education?
No. Drainage and irrigation. Have you seen any improvements there? No?
Throughout the country? Georgetown, you mean?
Well, anywhere. I'm asking you anywhere.
I think there's some work being done in Georgetown. Cleanup work since the central government gave money to the city council. We see that. We can see that.
But those are obvious positives, aren't they?
I don't know if it's an obvious positive. If the city council hasn't cleaned the place for 24 years and now they get money to start cleaning, what do you want me to do? Start to praise them? Are you kidding me? These people haven't cleaned the city for 24 years. And now they get 300 million and they run around painting here and painting there. And what you want me to do? Praise Chase Green and Hamilton Green? You want me to do that? They're total failures as council people. In my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion all the time.
Of course you are.
You want me to praise them?
No.
For what? Painting the place? 300 million they got from the central government. Have you seen any tenders out for this work, for contracts or anything? They're doing their own thing up there with the money they get.
Well,
they ain't getting no praise from me.
One of the areas that we have talked about for years, the question of local government elections. Now, that is becoming increasingly a reality. A date has in fact been set.
Yeah, a date has been set for local government elections.
Is not a substantial, favorable development?
It is a development, but all the parties in Parliament, including the present ruling parties, conspired over the years to postpone this thing for 20 years. Now that they want to do it, I'm not going to be out there as a cheerleader. I'm not going to do that. For 20
all
years...
I'm asking you, whether it's a positive development.
The question is not whether it is positive. The question is whether all three of them contributed to delaying local government elections for 20 years and postponing it annually, unanimously in the National Assembly. That is the question. That is the question. In total violation of the Constitution and everything the Constitution says about local government. I know you want me to change them.
I did not want you to change. I'm asking you simply whether you see these as positive developments. You've come here. We've all both spoken very critically of this annual deferring. Now it's being brought to an end. Should citizens feel positive about this? That they, for example, can go into elections?
Well, if you haven't had the thing for 24 years, I think since 1994 to 21 years, and now you told you're going to have elections, one can say that I would say, at last, all's well. I'd say hallelujah, hallelujah. That's what I would say. But I'm not going to be praising any minister for announcing any date. I'm not going to do that.
I wasn't asking you to praise
So if I find an area that's positive, I'm still looking for an area that's, I could say I'm excited. I know Minister Brooms has been out trying to get some work done that her officers should be doing.
Is that the work that the minister ought to be doing?
No, but her officers don't want to do it, so she got to go and do it. Yes. Did you notice that? Her officers who are paid as enforcement officers of the labor laws of this country, they don't want to do it, so the minister tries to go and do it. And she has to be commended for that.
So you think
a
minister usurping the powers of the...
No, it's not usurpation, no.
Minister, now, we have a situation where, unfortunately, you have 26 ministers.
Yeah, 26, yeah.
I think there might be one ministry that probably has 3 ministers.
3 ministers, yes.
Now, the role of a minister is essentially policy
making. But we have a lot of them here.
The role of the public servant from the PS, Chief Technical Officer, to carry out the law, to carry out the policies. Is it a good thing for governance when ministers start taking on these non-policy functions?
Well, I think it's something that needs to be looked into to find out why the officers who are paid to enforce the labor laws are not doing it. That we should look at. That is what we should look at.
The government in sugar appointed a commission of inquiry. In the public service, they've also appointed a commission of inquiry.
That's dragging on for quite some time. That Lakshman committee there. They're going into 2017 if you're not careful with them. They're quite extensive.
Do you see those commissions of inquiry as being positive developments, as fact-finding mechanisms by independent tribunals, as a way to formulate recommendations?
Well, we have the evidence of the first one that sat and met and did a report as the Commission of Inquiry into Sugar, and that provoked a first retreat, and then cabinet review and a second retreat. So we're waiting to see how many more retreats they need. If you have to have retreats for all these things, the government will be retreating for a long time. Because you had a retreat and you still didn't get any place. Went to cabinet, gone back again for next retreat. So I don't know when you'll get anything out of it.
What's your view of the number of ministries and the number of ministers? Was it a good thing?
No, it's excessive. Absolutely excessive. You don't need 26 ministers in this place to do what? And I'm hopeful that in the new year the president would look at it and see and look at the performance of his people and see how we can I don't like the word reshuffle, because like reshuffling the same pack, and see what he can do in the new year to deal with this group. Many of them have not performed at all, just as a citizen, just looking on. And I hope the president takes a very strong view and does a strong performance appraisal of his ministers, all 26 of them, and decide where he wants to keep them.
Well, but before you can do a performance appraisal, you have to have a job description or a terms of reference for that job.
For the minister?
No. You can't just say you didn't do your work.
The president could decide. The president, in his own judgment, he meets with them every week at the cabinet. He knows what they're doing, and he could decide if they're performing or if they didn't perform.
He meets with his cabinet.
Yeah.
He doesn't meet with every single minister.
Well, I don't know how many people are at cabinet. If I were to say that, I would be
no. If you look at what
I think there are
has been gazetted, it says member. Apart from the description as a minister, it says member of cabinet.
But the constitution also says that
they could invite others,
ministers, junior ministers to be there.
No, the point I'm making, though, and this is a human resource issue. If you want to fail me, you have to say, well, look, this is the task I gave you, and you did not perform.
They have it in their letters of appointment, I think, what they're supposed to do.
No. All it says, all it says, they're responsible for this act and that act, and this department and that department. We don't know that it's gone deeper than that. And we don't know, for example, it has said, look, you must introduce 6 pieces of legislation. You must bring in so much revenue. You must build so many miles of road.
Yeah, but this is not to prevent the president from having a reasonable view of who has performed well and who has not.
But without measurable targets, that assessment becomes a bit subjective.
it could become very problematic, but it could still be done. The president by now ought to know, after 7 months, which of these ministers have performed and which have not, and in the new year he ought to make the changes. It's as simple as that. Many of them have not performed. Of the 26.
How much you would say?
Oh, more than half. If I were to mark the papers, very few of them would pass. They haven't performed. I don't know what they've done for the last 7 months. We have looked at it in the economy, in education, in trade and business and tourism and all of that. There's nothing there. Indigenous affairs, there's nothing.
Is it realistic, Raymond, after 7 months, to be able to say, look, I will fire people because they haven't performed?
For the president to do
yes.
that? They serve at the pleasure of the president?
No, he can. I mean, the president can
it's
practically
quite realistic,
do anything.
Yes, I think so. If after 7 months he looks around and he sees you haven't done anything, he should change you. Yes, I think so. It's time enough. And I think the question he should put to each one of them is, tell me, what 3 things you've done in 7 months. That's a simple test. Tell me what 3 things you've done in 7 months. And many of them will be hard-pressed to tell the president and the public, what have you done in 7 months? Tell me, 3 things only. And that should be a simple test. You're looking for measurement, that's the measurement. Many of them would not be able to answer that question because they haven't done anything.
Now, we've just talked there about the executive.
Yeah.
What the executive has done or not done, and what segments of the executive. And in your view, well over half.
Failing grades. They get
failing grades. What about Parliament, which is made up of the President and the National... so what about the Legislative Assembly?
They haven't done anything. They haven't done anything. What have they done? The first meeting they had in the AML, the second one was the budget, August 10th. Since then, I don't think they've done anything. They haven't done anything. For the entire year, they haven't done anything. Because the prorogation since last year, July, and they came in May, and they went to Parliament for the AML, which they thought was the number 1 priority in this country. You get that done. Then the budget was August 10, and after that, nothing. There's nothing there. I know tomorrow they want to ram through a whole set of bills there, first, second, and third reading, which is entirely ridiculous, in my opinion.
Well, that I think...
So the Parliament hasn't met.
That is really undermining the parliamentary process, because bills are supposed to be published there.
Published and debated.
The citizens are supposed to be able to comment, the media evaluate,
yes.
And some of these things ought to go to committees.
Yes, and tomorrow we have again, we come back again to the anti-money laundering bill again to tidy up something here that I guess the foreign people want. Then we have a new thing now, the anti-terrorism thing we're coming with tomorrow now, which I guess is created overseas and brought here for us to look into, and there's some other municipal thing. So the Parliament hasn't done any work. It's as clear as day to me. Is
it appropriate for first, second, and third readings of bills to be done, except outside of emergencies?
No, it's entirely inappropriate. I think it's really illegal. Although, as you reminded me, the Constitution said Parliament may make its own rules, but I don't know. But that kind of ramming through all these things in one day, it is not in keeping with the spirit of the Constitution to ram all this legislation through just because the people outside want it done in one day. I think it's entirely illegal and it's improper. And it should not happen. It should not happen. The agenda, the priority items on the paper are dictated from outside, which I suspect these are dictated.
We have been speaking in this country of some fundamental and probably perennial problems. They've been on and on and on.
Yeah, that's correct.
Constitutional reform.
Oh, yes. Nothing.
Procurement.
Nothing done. Nothing done. We complained a lot about it in the last couple of years. They wanted it. You couldn't get it done. The Integrity Commission still not done. The Local Government Commission still not done.
Reform of GCOM.
GCOM, no. We haven't
Campaign financing.
We haven't been able to appoint a proper ambassador or high commissioner to Ottawa. We haven't appointed a high commissioner to London, as far as I'm aware. We have not appointed a proper high ambassador to Brazil. There's only one appointment, as far as I know, to Venezuela, and nobody else has been appointed. To India, to China, there's been nothing. How long does it take you to make name an ambassador?
No, it doesn't take you long to name an ambassador, but a process for the host country to evaluate, because the host country has to say that could take months.
How many months? 2-3 months?
Yes, it can.
We were 7 months. We're in there. 7 months we're in there.
So I'm suggesting to you that certainly in the case of Canada and in the UK, persons have been named.
I'm not aware.
You're not aware of that.
I know we don't have ambassadors, we don't have high commissioners. That's what I know. After 7 months, we don't have. We don't have any in China, we don't have any in India, we don't have them. That's the bottom line. We don't have them in Brazil. We have one, I think, installed in Venezuela. The government announced, Miss Miles. But the rest of them, I don't know about them.
Do you think the government shares your deep concern about the importance of having representatives in those major capitals?
No, they don't, because if they did, they would have put a man already in the place. If they really seriously thought we should have an ambassador in China or India or Ottawa or London by now, they would have had it done by now. There's enough time to have had it done by now. They don't think it's all that important. I don't think so.
What harm?
But we got the Saru. We got the Saru and we got the Soku. They think that's more important. The Saru has no legal basis. I know Clive Thomas is trying to get some work done there. Saru is not a legal thing. And then you have the Soku, run by some military man there I don't know what's his legal basis. I think he's part of the police force. But
I think he reports to the Commissioner of Police. Yes.
I don't think he reports to any Commissioner of Police.
So who does he report to?
Military people. He's a military man. That's what I think. That's what I think. Then we have this reorganization of the KANU and the police anti-narcotics thing into a new group to be headed by an ex-military man there too. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on here.
One of the things that President Granger appeared to have taken very seriously is restructuring and renaming. You recall
the ministries and all
the
that,
convention center immediately came in.
Well, the ministries.
And the ministries.
Yeah.
Now, what did you see? No, I don't ask those questions because you wouldn't know the answer anyway. Yeah. What enters anybody's head? Yeah. What do you see as the benefit for that wholesale renaming of ministries?
I don't. It is something that the president wanted to do. He must have thought about it a long time. He had it in his mind to do it because one of the first things he did, and he did it. He wanted to do it, and he did it. And he said in one of his speeches that this whole thing was the Ministry of Home Affairs. He said, what is Home Affairs anyhow? It doesn't make sense. Well, I would say, what is a rear admiral anyhow? Does a rear admiral make sense? In Guyana, we had one, some rear admiral. So we should rename that too.
But you know, I feel strongly about this.
About renaming things?
Should every president be able to say, look, I am going to come in and I'm going to create all these ministries or new entities, and I will rename them. Is that? Do you see constitutionalizing the size and structure of governments?
No. I think all that should be set out in the Constitution clearly.
That's what I'm saying, constitutionalizing.
Yes. Like in the American Constitution, these are the ministries, and if you need to create a new ministry, you have to get it approved by some constitutional process, not to come and say, we're going to have 12 ministries, and we're going to have 14 and 20 and 26 and all this nonsense. No. I think it's entirely ridiculous. It's entirely ridiculous, all this nonsense we have in this country. And I don't know of any other country where all this nonsense takes place on a daily basis.
The coalition, as you know, the government is a coalition government.
Of?
Well, you had the APNU, which was a a coalition itself of a number of
smaller
parties,
groups, PNC and some other groups.
Yes, and then you have the AFC. It's our second experiences of coalition government. How well do you think this coalition is working?
I think that this present coalition is that the AFC, in my opinion, they're junior partners to the APNO, part of the coalition. Inside the APNO, of course, the PNC is dominant because of the other small group, the National Front and Justice for All and all of that. I don't count them for much. So really, I would say PNC predominantly in charge, and they've brought into this coalition, into government, a lot of military elements and military personnel, and you have I would describe the coalition as AFC and APNU and a strong element of military personnel.
You see the military as part of the coalition?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
What do you mean?
They're part of the decision making at the top of the pyramid.
But they're not in cabinet. The cabinet is the decision making.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
That's what your constitution says.
That's what the constitution says. But I have a strong view that the previous the chief of staff, all the Best and Artley and all of them, they're in important policy making decisions, and I don't believe that the government or the cabinet, what we call the civilian cabinet, really does anything without the input of the kitchen cabinet from the military side, the men with pips and braids.
What's your view of the role and performance of the AFC in this government? They've got the prime ministership, they've got the public infrastructure, public security, agriculture. They've got some pretty substantial ministries.
Yes.
So they must be very powerful.
I'm not sure about that. They have big ministries. I think the Ministry of Agriculture, they're struggling with it. The Ministry of Infrastructure is a very big ministry there. The minister there comes from the AFC. I think he's struggling with that portfolio. It's quite big. And then you have Mr. Kemraj and Mr. Nagamoto, the two vice presidents. I don't know if Vice President Nagamoto is struggling with what he has. I think he has information.
He's the first vice president.
He's the first vice president and prime minister. And Mr. Ramjatan, of course, is struggling with.
But how do you think? So you see the AFC's performance. You were taking as the government as a whole, and you said the majority of them have been failures.
Yeah, including the AFC people.
So if you disaggregated,
you
would say the AFC failed.
If you ask the AFC ministers to name 3 things that you've done in 7 months, they'll have a tremendous difficulty answering you. What are the 3 things they've done in 7 months? All of them. All of the AFC ministers too. They'll have the same difficulty telling you what you've done in 7 months. They'll have the same problem. But I think they're enjoying themselves. I see them. They're quite happy, I must tell you. They sound like a happy bunch to me.
Explain.
You don't know what happiness is? You don't know what happiness is?
No, happiness could be in the Buddhist sense of the word, where it's peace of mind.
No, they're real happy, not in a Buddhist fashion. They're real happy. I tell you, they're real happy.
Buddhists are also really happy.
No, spiritually, these guys are really happy. The countenance, the demeanor, when you look at them, these guys are quite happy.
You know, there is a saying about power that some people have said. There's one famous lord said power corrupts and absolute.
What is it?
Lord
Acton.
Is it Acton? Yes.
Yeah, it was,
power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. There's a variation of that. That power doesn't always corrupt. Power did not corrupt Nelson Mandela, even though he was one of the most powerful people at the time. It did not corrupt him. Rather, power reveals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the persons in the government now have been exposed as just ordinary politicians wanting power, power drunk, not democratic?
I wouldn't use the word power drunk. I don't think they have any great concept of democracy. I don't think they're ready to use the language of board America. They ain't ready for this work. This work too big for them. They're not ready. They're not trained enough. They're not qualified. They're not experienced enough. They don't have vision. They don't have education enough to handle it. But I don't think they're drunk. And many of them are struggling with it, and they're not performing.
Do you think at an individual level, the majority of persons have handled power well?
Of the 26?
Yes.
I don't think, I would say, generally speaking, they have failed to do what we expected them to do. That would be my, if I were to summarize it, of most of them. And in terms of what they will do with this power they have coming down the road, whether they'll be revealed more, whether they will become corrupt, whether they're corruptible and all of that, we'll see. We'll see down the road. But right now, when I mark the papers, I would have to say that they failed. They failed as a group. They ain't ready. They ain't ready. As simple as that. They don't have the training and the experience and the education and the background and the pedigree and nothing to run these big ministries. They just don't have it.
One of the things we had spoken about ad nauseum was this question of constitutional reform. Again, the government has taken steps to address constitutional reform. Do you see that as a positive development?
What steps you mean? To form some committee or something?
It has formed a committee, the terms of reference of which are to advise the government on how to proceed with constitution.
A committee to tell you how to proceed with the next committee, yes. And you think this is a big move forward?
No, I'm asking you.
But this is nothing. I said it's nothing. A committee to tell me how to form the other committee to move forward, that's just you wasting time. That's what I would say. After 7 months, you get a committee to tell me how to get the next committee. You're wasting my time. That would be my thing. We have critical problems in this country, very serious problems with corruption, with the GPL, with the NISIL, with the GGMC, where nothing is being done. We don't have a board of directors yet for the GPL after 7 months. We don't have a board of directors for the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority after 7 months. There's no excuse, none at all whatsoever, why it couldn't have been done. It's just failure upon failure. There's no excuses for that. Well, what's the big deal of putting together a board? I don't know. What's the big problem? What's the big deal of getting an ambassador appointed to London? I don't know what's the big problem.
Do you think we have
competent
the competent people, talent pool, I think it's called.
In the government?
No, not in the government, in the country.
In the country.
To put on all these boards and all these commissions and all these authorities.
We have people, but when you look in, I used to make up boards too when I was at finance. We were always looking for our own people. We were always looking for our own comrades. We never look outside, and that's one of the big problem here. Once you look within your own party, among your own comrades, that's what you'll end up with. And I'm guilty of that. When we were making boards, we never tried to pick good people from the other side. We always pick for our own country, our own comrades, but there are a lot of good people in this country who could serve and do a good job, who are credible and incorruptible. But we don't pick them. We don't pick them. You go back into the old days, you find some old comrade from the good old days, some former minister from 1982, and bring him back here and put him in something like that. All ridiculous, all of it.
The NIS was another one of the
big problem
intractable problems.
Nothing has been done up there.
But a new board has been installed there.
A new board has been installed there, but I don't know if they could handle that. I understand the minister said he's looking for some consultants from overseas to come and advise him about that, about the NIS. And they're looking for some consultants from overseas to come and tell him about whether he should have a new state bank in agricultural development. They're all looking overseas for something. You have a problem, you go overseas. You go to the IDB, the CDB, and see if they could send you something.
You were involved with the Guy Bank.
At one time, I was chairman of the board, yes.
And younger people would probably don't know Guyana Agricultural and Industrial Development Bank. There is talk about bringing back a bank.
I hope they don't. I hope they don't. I hope they don't. I was also a director at Co-op Bank. I hope they don't. Because a lot of the comrades come and they borrow money, they never pay it back because they have political friends. Because they cannot run it like a proper bank. I hope they don't. It costs the taxpayers of this country billions of dollars in these two banks. And I'm familiar with both of these banks. And they borrow the money, you have political friends and you don't have to pay it back. I hope they don't do it.
How do you feel the government has performed as employers?
Well, we have always complained in the past that the previous people did not do collective bargaining with the public servants. This government has not started it either, collective bargaining with the unions around the table. You hear in the budget there was some 5% thing with plus 5,000 effective July 1, the same thing in position. Then you hear recently some other bonus top-up coming back. It's ridiculous. This is not the way to do it. There are collective agreements in the government, and the government should sit around the table with the representative unions and do collective bargaining. It's as simple as that. Rather than making these impositions all the time, like if you don't have unions in the place. Of course, the unions are not so active either.
The government has been criticized for announcing a $50,000 tax-free bonus. Now, where in the law is there any authority for the government to give a tax-free bonus?
Well, you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. I'm a Russian-trained lawyer. I think you know that. They were giving it for many years. Tax-free money to the military. They used to get the December monthly bonus. And this government is just continuing a tradition.
Is that lawlessness?
Of course it's lawlessness.
No, the one that really peeved me, and I know I should be just asking questions.
Yeah, you go ahead.
This business of the tax-free overtime in the bauxite industry is not a subsidy to the
employer, yes. Of course it is.
And Rusal?
Of course it is. Of course it is. And it's illegal. The Act does not permit it. A lot of things are illegal in this country. Tax repayments to this judge and the other judge, tax repayment to this body and that body. It's all illegal. All of it. All of it. Well, the lawlessness here continues all the time. And I'm amazed at this government that has so many lawyers in there, among their ranks, don't see it. They don't see it. They don't feel it. They don't have a feel for it, for constitutionality and for the rule of law. They just don't do it, to my mind. When I hear it, the first thing that strikes me is this thing proper? Is it legal? But I don't think these lawyers in the government, they really react like that. Because we've grown up in a culture of lawlessness for many years now.
Yeah, no, but you've grown... Let's say one accepts
that.
Not
me, them.
Well, let's say one accepts that in respect of civilians. Surely the lawyers who been practicing law the day before...
Well, they should do better, yes. They should. I can understand if the president, who's not trained in that area, doesn't understand all his law and constitution. But from the prime minister down and all of them, they are trained in the law. They should know better. They should all know better. But when it's illegal, of course they should know better.
Do you think they know better and don't care?
I won't say they don't care. I don't say they don't care. They know better, but as politicians, they're trying to curry favor with the electorate. You have elections coming up soon, and they're trying to curry favor. That's what they're doing. And they believe as politicians, they can do that and get away with it. And don't worry about too much law. They're starting to campaign.
That's a dangerous road to go on.
Bonus for you, overtime, tax-free for you. Some getting bicycles. I see some people in Borbies, they got some apples and grapes from the Borbies Bridge. Everybody getting goodies.
From the bridge?
From the bridge company gave away some apples and grapes last week. So a lot of goodies are going to be shared out from now to local government elections. The budget that is coming up in the new year is going to have a lot of goodies in it because it's a pre-election budget coming up. You'll see. Grandma McRae will do the analysis.
Next year marks 50 years.
Oh, yes.
Since our independence.
Yes.
How much have we got to show for it?
Well, this is a project that the people at the University of Guyana should really undertake. An assessment of the 50 years since Guyana became formally independent. It should be done. It's an exercise that should be done. What have we accomplished in 50 years with these two parties ruling the country for 50 years? Two parties alone. That exercise should be done.
You know, I'll be very honest. I am a member of the Council of the University of Guyana, and I asked, have we done a publication on 50 years of the university? And they hadn't done it.
They wouldn't done. Why are you surprised?
So why are you asking that they do it for the country?
They wouldn't do it. It's just the kind of people you have up there. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. They're a lazy set of people in any other institution you would have had it done. This country, Burnham died in 85, 30 years ago. Nobody has done a biography of Burnham up to now. We don't have one of Jagan. Never did one on Critchlow. Never did one on Eden or Polydor, nobody. This is the kind of country we live in. This is a terrible place sometimes when you think about it. Nobody has done it.
It's not as bad as being the worst place in the world, was one columnist.
I don't think it's the worst place in the world, but it's bad enough.
I don't want to be a racker.
No, it's bad enough. It's a serious indictment of academia, the academics we have here, and a lot of them waste a lot of time arguing about who's an African intellectual and who is an Indian intellectual, Ramarak and Bisram and Budram and Abu Bakr in Paris. These guys are wasting time all the time.
And they leave Gaskin out of that.
They don't involve me in that because they're talking about tribalism. I don't get involved in those discussions.
Well, Raymond, I think our time is up. I do want to thank you for your support for this program during 2015.
You're welcome.
I think viewers have enjoyed hearing you. At times you rile them up, but that's part of the discussion. So,
but this is unintentionally, though.
Let me on behalf. No. I'm sure it is. Let me on behalf of the viewers say thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is probably my last program for the year, certainly before Christmas. So I do want to take this opportunity to wish the operators, the owners and management of Channel 9 and Channel 7 who have provided such generous support to this program. And most importantly, I'd like to thank you, the viewers, for keep showing some interest in the program. I want to wish you a very peaceful and happy Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you. It's possible that I'll have one program after Christmas within 2015. So again, thank you and good night.